What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SCL020. I'm back at it again for a brand new review. It's been a while. But believe it or not, I went into this movie thinking that it was going to be terrible. I was heard early signs that the movie might not be any good and all these different kind of things. And I was very unenthusiastic about trying to go see this movie, but surprisingly, I went and I saw RoboCop, the 2014 remake of the classic. As such, I'm just gonna kind of go ahead into it, and this is the first time, y'all, that I've actually went and I took a lot of notes. So what I'm gonna have to do off the gate is, I guess I'm gonna talk about um, just how the scope of the movie looked, first of all. So I remember looking at RoboCop, directed by Paul Verhoeven. This is the director's cut, so I looked at it again sometime last week. But when I looked at it, I was like, man, like I've forgotten all the gore and what happened to Alex Murphy, and just him getting into the suit was just terrible. I mean, the whole premise behind Omnitech and how they actually came up with the conception of having robots in normal civilization, it was just so foreign back. I think this movie came out, was it like 1980s? If not like maybe 82, 89 maybe at the latest. But when it came out, it was a gore fest. I mean, it was violent, it was gritty, it was all this and that. And so as soon as I heard about this new one coming out and it being PG-13, I was like, what? This is gonna be PG-13? And so it didn't make sense to me why they would go this route, first of all. And so I'd heard somebody saying, well, he doesn't have like a normal gun. He's got like a taser, so he's tasing people. And that it was just going to be totally off the charts of how they're supposed to be. That Alex Murphy's partner, Detective Lewis, who was the girl in the original one, is now played by African American male versus. And I mean, I just was kind of like, okay, this is not going to be any good. So I went to the movie theater, and off the gate, the first thing I see is him and his partner going undercover and them working a bust and them trying to interrogate and using any means and resources they can to go at this. And it didn't feel like a RoboCop movie off the gate. I mean, the beginning of it, it showed like a modern day civilization, but not so modern that it's like outside of our scope of thinking. Like they actually had in other countries, Omnitech had finally actually brought like different one of the mechs down there, and it's like, how do I put it? It's like a dictatorship's going on with the corporation overseas, and so now they're not deploying the troops overseas, but they're deploying these drones, and like they're saying, well, now they don't have to worry about blowing up or people being scared or any kind of hardship. And the first thing you see is like this family, and like they are frightened out of their mind. They are trying to intentionally get stuff seen on picture to show that this is not cool. Like we are being held captive by these robotic things. And so, I mean, I thought the scope of the movie would look beautiful. I thought that the way that they perceived like kind of a maybe I want to say maybe 10 or 15-year future from now, where it's not so technological that you can't see where it's going to be, but at the same time, just the way that the mechs look, the way the robots look, the way it felt, it was really well made. And then not just that, when it came down to it, when Alex Murphy finally does don the costume, and I mean, when I looked at the older one and how like he got shot up and it was so gory, it was so messed up, and then they showed him in the suit and it was kind of messed up too. When I saw the finished product, like even though like instead of him, a little small spoiler, but you've seen it from the trailers, instead of him dying from gunshot wounds, this one he's blown up. Okay, now when you look at the trailer, and this is a PG-13 movie, you're not going to see him getting blown up, but you do see the after effect. You do see what his body looks like, and it's pretty messed up. I mean, I thought in the trailers they were just going to show like a small clip of like him in the bandages and stuff like that. No, they showed the finished product, and it is quite messed up. Like it's like it's so a scary scene when like the doctor takes his stuff off of him and shows him exactly what he really looks like after the accident, after everything they had to do to him, and it's pretty messed up. And it's interesting how now PG-13 is like pushed to fold, and I can appreciate that because they keep it authentic, they keep it real, and even in the action scenes were amazing. I love the action scenes. I mean, the training simulation scenes when he first like dons the suit and actually goes on his first patrol, like it is amazing. And then if any of y'all looked at personal interest in how now you got like cameras everywhere, what if police officer had accessibility, all those things, cameras all at once? He does. And it's amazing how he uses every single bit of technology around him without being so like nanotechnology in order to hack into this, hacking that. It's just off of surveillance. And it's really epic. And I mean, it's not just even with his gun. Yes, there are taser settings when he actually shoots somebody, but he actually does have to defend himself. There are bullets that do kill people. Like he does have to, like if somebody shoots at him, he's not just gonna go and just kill them off the gate. If they shoot at him as though they're trying to kill him, he's gonna take them out. And it's not gonna be a taser. And so rest assured, like there are some awesome scenes in how they do this as far as the action, and it's not just all PG-13. It doesn't feel like a PG-13 movie in all honesty. Could they have gone a little bit deeper? Yeah. But as far as how I liked it, it was only one scene that I thought was kind of like a little cheesy, and it really wasn't really cheesy. It was when he was kind of like at the very mid section, and he was fighting. He was fighting in what was it? It was like he was breaking into. I can't tell you. Never mind. I'm not gonna tell you. He was breaking into something, and he was working with one of the mechs, and he was shooting at it, and it kind of looked a little too CGS. But then, like, it leveled out really well. I really liked it. My favorite action scene in this one, I have to point it out, and I wrote it out, is when he goes and he hunts down the person that actually blew him up and who tried to take him out. And it's like, you know how like you got night vision? Well, this one it is, but it's like infrared, and so it's completely white instead of being completely green. And how they do it is just it's one of the most epic scenes I've seen in a while. I could really appreciate it, and then even with the final result of what he had to do, and it was just good. I like that part. So I'd give the action and the scope of the movie how it looked like actually a 4 out of 5, believe it or not. Going into the acting, and so what I'm gonna do something a little different. Like I said, I wrote a lot of different notes, and I mean each character did a good job of their role. Everywhere from Michael Keaton's role to Gary Oldman's role, Jackie Early. I mean, they did some really good things with what their characters were. And I'll go and touch on each one. I think it's very important that I do because I could really appreciate it because I didn't think there was any substance in this movie. And so the main star, he's a newcomer. His name is Joel Kinnaman, or is it Kinnaman? Not really sure. But Joel does a very good job of presenting what modern day good cop in an area like Detroit would be now, not even in the future. And so, I mean, they're already working like undercover beats. I mean, he goes home. He's a family-oriented man. Like after like the first shootout, and he goes back home. You can see the pain in his eyes, like of what happened to his partner and what was going on. But it shows such a good thing because he's so family-oriented that he needs his wife. He needs his son. And I mean, to believe it or not, like the one thing that I really loved about this one as opposed to the original one, they play more on like how much better he is as a human being because of his wife than without her, you know? And with the older one, like they touch on that, but not to these kind of levels. Like the actual wife has good screen time. She actually has good roles. She actually does a good job with this. Her name is Abby Kernish. So she plays Clara Murphy as opposed to Alex Murphy. And she does a really good job. I really liked her character because every second of every moment, like Alex's character, after he progresses into being the robot or the RoboCop, as it were, you try to understand if he's human or if he's a machine. He's human or machine. And it's a fine line, and it plays on the way that he acts the role. Like, I mean, there are actions that happen with him, but how he portrays it with his face is everything. And so there are times where you see him in pain when he's looking at himself, for instance, in the mirror. Like, you can see the anguish and the pain and the dread and just the thoughts of suicide coming through his eyes at what just happened to him. But then when he interacts with his wife, and like there's something that happens and he loses all his emotions because they have to do that for a reason. I'm not going to tell you why. But when he interacts with his wife, he's just completely emotionless. She sees it. She sees that's not my husband. When I first saw him, when he came back, whether he was without body or not, like, that is not my husband. And she portrays it in her eyes so well. And so when she confronts him, like, he has to, like, I mean, it's not like he just reroutes his programming like he did with this one. Like, in his thought process, everything is kind of moved and shaken. And so this also plays into Gary Oldman's character. Gary Oldman's character, the good doctor, I don't know whether to call him an anti-hero or if I call him an ally to Alex Murphy in a sense, because he's his maker, you know. But then way he does, like, the doctor in this role, he doesn't play like the selfish, the ravenous, like trying to attain for money. Like, he plays the role as though like he needs to have someone that also knows control, but at the same time has humanity. And it's interesting because there's a point in the movie where his character is actually he's a cyber what is it called? When you have a doctor and animatronics have to be applied for people that have loss of limbs, he's a specialist in that, but he's brought it to a whole different level because he's able to give a person, for instance, they had lost both of their hands, and he gave them brand new animatronic hands, and they can move them just like that. But he's letting the person know that this is all based off of your thought pattern. So he allowed the person to go and, like, they used to play a guitar, so he let them go to play the guitar. He starts playing it. He plays it beautifully. He's like, this is all off of you. Then all of a sudden, he starts, his stress level, you can see his serotonin level like raising a little bit. And you can see him kind of like freaking out. And then he just starts losing the rhythm and everything. He's like, calm down, relax. And you can it shows his humanity. It shows, like, okay, if he takes like detail into empathy and understanding, like, to this level, you know later on when the time comes with Alex that when the time comes needs to be, he's going to do what the right thing, even though he knows what he's doing is wrong. You know, he can't play God. But what happens with this character, this small little moment I thought was really beautiful because it defined Gary Oldman's character for me personally, is that when the guy was playing, he said, calm down, relax. He starts playing really good again. Then the guy, he tries to do something totally different. He's like, look, you can't keep stressing out. You have to calm down. But the guy says to him, in order for me to play the way that I used to play and invent, imaginating things, I need to emote. I need to, like, have a little bit of stress here and there. And so, like, that's foreshadowing, because when the time comes for Alex Murphy's character to come, and he's brought through all these different rigorous trials, and he's slowly, completely turned into a robot, for them having to fine tune, okay, he's not fast enough, he's not this, he's not that. Like, they're breaking down every part of him that's human, but for some reason, he keeps resisting. He keeps coming back, but they've been in his brain. You actually get to see this. That's why I said it's not completely PG-13 to me. They're going in his brain. They're actually showing what the piece they're modifying and taking different chips out, and, like, the person is asking him, like, asking Gary Coleman's character, why are you breaking this down? He's going to lose all sorts of humanity. And then, for some strange reason, and Gary almost can't understand it, he keeps resisting. He keeps, like, bringing himself back. And it's just a really beautiful thing, the relationship between Alex and his doctor. I really like that part about it. Now, I will say this, that when he broke, like, the control of the serotonin levels and broke control of them trying to control him as being a robot and being human, like, to me, that formed him into not just being a cyborg, but being his own entity, being his own. This is something that they've never even experienced before. They thought it had to be one or the other, but he defied that, you know. And so I really appreciate that. And then comes Michael Keaton's character. And with his character, I don't know whether if I liked him or if I hated him because it was like he plays Raymond Cialis, and he's the inventor, the pioneer of trying to get all these robotic things into the United States, and he does anything he could to try to do that. He's met with senators and whatnot, and none of them are buying it. All of them are kind of defying him, but he's like, okay, this is what I'll do. I'll bring a man and put him in the machine. It just happens that with Alex's character, like he goes through this terrible thing, and his wife had to sign off on it. But he milks it for everything it's worth. Like every scene that he's in, like he lights it up. And I mean, it's like I knew this man was evil, but the smile that he had on his face, like he's contagious. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like just the way that they're doing the characters in themselves, I'm willing to go back and see the movie again. So I know I'm going far. I know I shouldn't have took it this far, but there's also a scene where what happened? Um, it was Michael Keaton's character. He was saying Raymond was saying to the doctor, like, well, he needs to be a little bit more tactical. Like, I know I like the silver, and I know I like him, kind of like looking kind of bold and whatnot, and kind of classic, nostalgic, but I want him to be more tactical. And they were like, so what do you want him to be? What color? He's like, you know what? I think we should go with black. And I was like, Batman reference. I was like, that's awesome. Because I was like thinking, I was going back to Christian Bale when he did Batman Begins. It's like, let's get this in black. I mean, it was like a perfect Batman reference. Anyway, that was off topic. I'm sorry. Then you got Samuel Jackson's character. Samuel Jackson's character, I don't know. He was the comic relief. He was the person that was running Novik, and they are the ones that are kind of like the news in the sense of trying to push robots onto America, not just America, but everywhere. And he was just a trip. Like I found times where I was just completely laughing at him. I really enjoyed his character. I'm not even spoiling anything that he does or says, but just check it out. When you see it, you'll know what I mean. And there are times where, even in the movie, like classic points where Alex does refer back to like the different moments. And there's a time where he says, "Dead or alive, you coming with me?" Like I love just the way that they incorporate the small things, but they kept this as its own movie. So I know that took a long time with the acting portion. I give the acting portion, believe it or not, actually a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed the acting of it. I didn't see anybody's role was like really underdone. I mean, Michael Keaton's role, it was different. It wasn't like he didn't bring it. He brought elegance to his character that made him likable, but at the same time, you knew this person is evil, but he didn't show it, up until the very end. So, yeah, I give that a 4 out of 5. And then the story. So, um, I really enjoyed the story. Believe it or not, this is not the same story. It changed so much. They keep the same theme, but this one goes more off of, like, instead of in the older one, you have a man that was a good cop that transferred in, he's got corruption, and he wants to do something about the corruption. He gets, like, things happen to him, and then it shows that even without the normal body, like, he still has the spirit to fight crime, do the right thing, no matter what the stakes. And so with this storyline, it's different. It's as though this man, like, he's dedicated to his work, he's dedicated to his family, he's dedicated to his partner, like, he loves his whole dynamic of his unit. I mean, he knows he's different. He's a good cop. He's good at what he does. He fights corruption. Like, he's bold, but he's arrogant sometimes. But it's like he's got it all together, and then his whole world is ripped from him. And not just that, when he's brought back, I mean, he doesn't even know what he truly is. He doesn't know if he's human or not. He doesn't see himself as human. He doesn't have all the parts of being there. All he has is just certain things. And it's all in this region right here, and that's it. And so the way that you see, even with the person that, like, doesn't know who and what they are, that the spirit of a man is even stronger than the perversion of what man tries to create itself to be. Is the best way I can kind of create this thing, because each time after time, he fights for his family to a degree, But it's like, I mean, he's always on the niche, always on the go, always doing stuff, and his action always going. But it's all brought back to center when it comes to his wife, when it comes to his kid, when it comes to his partner, when it comes to the right thing. Like, he defies his own programming. And so it's not just this guy, like, trying to go and be, like, this good cop and just kind of stop the odds. Like, it's him regaining his humanity and becoming. So it didn't feel like he was necessarily a RoboCop. It felt like he became a man again. And that's why I appreciate it more. I would love to see this as a sequel. I'd love to see more what they would do with his character, what they could do. Like, say if they advanced technology to the point that he actually could get his body back, then what would he do? Would he choose to be the person that he's supposed to be, or go? I mean, it's just, yeah. There's nothing after the credits. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I get the story 3.5, maybe a 4 out of 5, because, I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular, so probably a 3.5. But I really did enjoy it, and it was enough to want me to actually come back, and I look forward to this maybe being a sequel. So, I mean, all the naysayers, all the people that are saying sucked, all the records, I mean, yes, I did love the Lego movie. That's still #1, and this made #3 at the box office. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go check it out. I promise you, you'll actually really enjoy it. I know it does have actual meat to the storyline. I know it has great action scenes. It's dry humor sometimes. There's times where you don't know why they're doing things. It's not a perfect movie, but I really did enjoy it, and I know you will too. Leave your comments and post at the below. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Let me know if you have any questions about anything more. If you want me to do a spoiler-filled review of it, I kind of spoiled a lot. I'm sorry if I did. It shows that this movie actually kept me on the edge of my seats. And by the end of it, I really was. There were points where I didn't know. I mean, this is a different kind of movie. Like, if he got shot in the head, if he got shot in the chest, he could die. It wasn't just like this armor just going to completely protect him. There are times that he can die. He has to move out of the way to do that. And there were times I thought he was. I didn't know if he was going to come back the same. I didn't know if he was going to come back as robot. It made me feel for the character. It made me not want him to end up as a drone or just some kind of zombie thing to surround or lose. Like, say if his memory got completely wiped. Those were things I worried about for the character. And that goes to the directing. And so as far as what I thought of how they did that, I mean, I really enjoyed it. And I took heart of it. Highly go recommend it. Director Jose Padia did a good job. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, rant is off. SEL 020. I'm about to be out. Y'all have a good night.